I'm sure you've seen it. And if you haven't, everyone take a quick second to go check it out. Low block from a tight end in Cincinnati. Got to get your opinion on it, Cam. You're obviously a guy who plays in the trenches. What do you think about that hit, and should it be illegal?
First, it is a legal block. Let's get that straight. I think I commented on Twitter about it. Is it normal? No. You have a player facing an end zone and another guy diving for his legs. When you first think about it, it's like, oh, that's football. But is it? In our league, we've already gotten rid of when offensive linemen are pooling a defensive back, 180-pound defensive back cannot dive at their legs when clearly they have a mismatch. So now we're talking about a heavier guy in a tight end, going for a defensive lineman's legs, and you just don't see the protection there. You look at the quarterbacks; they are always protected. You can't even flinch at their legs, or they're calling something. It's really interesting when you think about it that when the defensive linemen come off the ball, right, and are passing down, and you see a tight end who is split out but still looking at the line of scrimmage, comes down and barrels down at a defensive lineman who doesn't have clear eyesight of him. Why is that still allowed? The defensive linemen and defensive ends, outside linebackers, they have no protections. And I feel like we've made so many different safeties in our league to protect so many different positions, but still we deal with high-lows that, they say they're illegal now in our league, but still take place where a defensive lineman is in position with another offensive lineman, and then another one comes out of their way and hits them in the legs. We say that's cleaned up. That still happens. And now we still have a tight end getting a running start and shooting for a guy's legs. I don't think that's right. I don't know if the guy meant to do that. I don't think it was malicious. As of right now, it's part of the game, but I think it's time to clean that part of the game up. It doesn't serve anything. It shouldn't be the offense has a clear advantage in that response. Man up to man up, hands to hands, chest to chest. Why is a guy barreling for somebody's legs given an extra safety than a defensive lineman?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that actually that block is illegal in college. So that's an interesting thing too to think about. But I mean, as a defensive player, do you feel that the league protects offensive players more than defensive players?
Yes. We could go back to the old Steelers, Mel Blount. He was manhandling wide receivers for a very long time. And everybody loved to see it. If you saw Mel Blount right now, you would never know he was a defensive back because the dude is, 6'5", and very well built. But he was destroying wide receivers. They put in the rule that you couldn't grab wide receivers or you couldn't get them past 5 yards. Now you look at it and the wide receivers just got so many safeties to be able to catch the ball over the middle. The offensive linemen are being protected now with the pullouts. Being able to pull and not having to worry about a defensive back going for your legs, I think, you're looking out for them. It's a great safety, but I'm just asking on the other side. And don't even get me started on the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks have been protected. I think Tom Brady even brought it up one time talking about how the offense has just gotten a true advantage in this day and age. You see all these points. You can't even pressure a quarterback anymore the way we used to. It used to be affect the quarterback even if he threw the ball. You can't do that anymore. I remember plenty of times when the Steelers were dumping quarterbacks on their heads, just letting the quarterback know they were there, and it played a factor in the game. it made the quarterback think about the rush rather than thinking about his next read. And I'm interested to see what the NFL does going forward if we're ever going to protect defensive linemen.
One thing I do want to ask you too, should that block even be happening in preseason? It feels like it's a dangerous block. It's legal, I get you, but if it's dangerous, why even run it in the preseason? I get you have to run the play. I understand it, but it just seems like it's a dangerous play to be running in the second week of the preseason, putting a guy at risk. And luckily, I think Thibodeaux is going to be okay, but it just seems like a dangerous play to be running in the preseason.
I don't think any play is ever dangerous. I think technique, it could have been changed. Um, and I think on here, we're critical of the play rather than critical of the player. I think you can learn from these instances and learn how we can be better as a league if we're protecting everybody. I think this year I was reading something where we had more lower extremity injuries than upper extremity injuries. But let's clean up the lower extremities because you know, that play is called we call it a wrap, where the tight end is off the ball and is coming to kick out the tight end, the defensive end. We've talked most times you need to alert the other guy on the other side of the ball needs to alert other outside linebacker, just letting them know, be ready for the wrap. Yeah, you're ready for it, but if a guy's swinging or shooting for your knees, that's not a good sign. And I'll say this: I hate to be a dirty player, but if a guy's going to do it, wouldn't you think now that gives the defensive lineman more, of an opportunity to step on a guy's hands or step on his chest just because man, you need to set precedent. If he's going to do that, he's going to pay for it.
Wow. So is that's not obviously an admission of anything, but it's just something that guys in the league do, it sounds like, when they get chop blocked or something like that.
Yeah, I think everybody's looking for a clean game, but if they want to take it there, a defensive lineman will totally take it there if they get the opportunity.